Last week was my first delivery as a captain, and this week I'm already onto my second. Soon after the surprisingly abrupt ending last week, due to every first boat owner's nightmare, I received a call from Gary and Becky, asking to help them sail their Leopard 46, 250 nautical miles from North Carolina to North Virginia, along Cape Hatteras, a notoriously dangerous stretch of water known as the graveyard of the Atlantic. A decent weather window opened up for us the day I arrived, so off we went. Does this sail go as planned? You'll have to keep watching to find out.
On the road again, like a band of gypsy, we go down the highway. We're the best of friends. Our way, I go my way. On the road again. Okay, so I've picked up a rental car and now I've got 515 miles to drive from Jacksonville, Florida, northern Florida, to, where am I going? Beaufort, North Carolina. It's going to take me about 8 hours, 8.5 hours driving. I could have flown, but a bit more fun. I get to see a little bit of the countryside. So I'm going through Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and then ending in North Carolina. I'm trying to think of like American songs, and I've just got the message saying, welcome to Georgia. Georgia, a song of you. Ray Charles, what an artist. Just crossed the border into South Carolina. This car's on fire. I haven't really looked at the map, but Georgia, obviously quite small. It was about an hour and a half maybe to drive through Georgia. So obviously a smaller state. The truck there just doesn't give a shit. He's knocking over all the cones. It's all happening here on the highway. South Carolina, baby. Hey, mister, can you tell me where a man might find a bed? He said and shook my hand, no was all he said. So I just made it to my motel. It's called Motel 6. You definitely get what you pay for. All right. So I'm well rested. Now it's time for the last 4 hours. Let's go. Woo! Have mercy, baby. Town Creek Marina. So I'm here now at the Marina, and he's in a Leopard 46. So I've just spotted one. I think it's a Leopard 46. So I'll just walk down there and see if it says. Am I at the right boat? Gary?
Yeah.
Tom? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you. Come aboard.
Thank you. How you doing? I'm Tom. Nice to meet you. So this is Gary and Becky. They own a 2008 Leopard 46. They asked me to help them get their boat from Beaufort, North Carolina to Yankee Point, Virginia, which is inside the Chesapeake Bay, so around 250 nautical miles. Gary knew and was confident with his boat, but he wasn't comfortable sailing it around Cape Hatteras with just him and Becky. Cape Hatteras is notorious for being a very dangerous stretch to sail. It is home to over 600 shipwrecks. It has the nickname, the Graveyard of the Atlantic. Now, it wasn't so long ago I was in the Graveyard of the Pacific. There seems to be some kind of connection between me and graveyards. Probably something I should look into. As mentioned last week, other smaller boats could use the ICW, but Gary and Becky's boat stood 70 feet tall, and due to bridges with height restrictions, the ICW wasn't an option for us. So we had to run the Gauntlet through the Graveyard of the Atlantic. Now I know it looks like I travel with a lot of stuff, but this is everything I own. When it's everything you own, it's actually not that much. Gary has plenty of power on board. He has 3,600 watts of solar, but they're bifacial panels, meaning it also collects power from the underside.
So anything reflecting on the water or on the hull, the deck. So it's 3,600 watts. I've had made 4,200, on a good sunny day.
Wow. So you run aircon out there off your battery?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have 1,600 amp hour lithium batteries, just for that reason.
Right.
Be comfortable. Yeah.
And that's a luxury I'm not used to. All electric winches.
Yeah.
This is luxury, mate. So he's got all new instruments and all his winches are electric, all coming back to the helm. Alright, so I just arrived just a couple of hours ago actually, and we just had dinner, and then now we're just saying let's go, let's leave now. We've got a window to get round Hatteras, Cape Hatteras. You want the weather to be good, the right conditions for going around there, and we've got a window now, and if we wait another day it might get ugly on the back end of this passage. So we've got about 270 miles to go to get to Yankee Point, Marina. I think that's right, Yankee Point. So yeah, we're going to take advantage. It might be a little bit uncomfortable for the first 3 hours just while we're going against the swell, against the wind, but as soon as we get around that point it should ease up. We're just doing a last little bits and pieces. Gary's just quickly changing the oil in the sail drives. It's about 7:30, so we're going to do an overnight all day tomorrow, another overnight, and should arrive, should be about 40 hours. That's the plan. Let's go.
Out of here.
Yeah, mate.
Sweet, man. Safe travels.
Thank you.
You YouTuber?
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit.
So it's a little after midnight and we just came around the Hatteras, like Cape Hatteras. It's just me sitting here. There's no wind. It's really peaceful, really calm, really glassy. It's quite a nice little night motor. Alright, so it's next morning. We've been going for about 12 hours and we're just coming up to Cape Hatteras. We've got like 10 knots on the nose. It's pretty calm, nice rolling swell. It's pretty easy going at the moment. This is Cape Hatteras here. Just going to come around past this shoal, then make our turn. We're about 70 miles just south of the Chesapeake entrance. We are about to change the oil out in the sail drives. I'll let Gary explain why we're doing that.
I have water coming in. I'm trying to make it to Virginia to do a repower.
You told me earlier you got 2 new engines and 2 sail drives.
Yeah, I ordered, and they're waiting for me. You just have to get to it.
Yeah, we just changed the starboard side, and your port side we're not using because that failed.
Yeah, the port side is at the point where I think if I use it, that it's going to quit working.
Yeah.
So I use it for docking.
So he's been doing regular oil changes daily.
6 to 8 hours.
Every 6 to 8 hours. So that's why I said there's a mad rush to get north. 1, weather, hurricanes, and 2, because he's got 2 new engines and 2 new sail drives waiting for him to replace. So that's why we had to do that. So we're motor sailing at the moment. We've got the Genoa up and the starboard side engine. We were doing this before. There we go. Yeah, 7 knots. Hello. So it's midnight. Just me sitting here in the dark. Same as last night. Pretty chill. Don't have a lot of wind. We've got 9 knots, sitting at about 70 degrees, so we're just motor sailing. Just got the Genoa out, and looking at AIS it looks like it's going to be a bit busy. Once we get a bit closer we'll worry about that when we get there. Oh, I lost my drone today. I was flying it around. We were going 7 knots and I was overly confident and I brought it in, but right when we were coming down a swell, and I had it at the right height, and then we went up a wave. The drone dropped, and I went to grab it, and our momentum was moving forward, so the drone came back, hit a shroud, and just went straight in the water. I was at the bow, trying to catch it at the bow, and by the time it went in the water, it was actually back near the stern. It was already starting to play up since I dropped it in the water in Mexico on Parlay. I didn't risk it, I didn't jump in, so I'm gonna have to buy a new drone, so that sucks. Good morning. So I've just taken over. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're inside the Chesapeake now. Came in while I was asleep. Just nice and calm again. This whole trip, this whole 2 days, it's just been pretty peaceful. Probably the most wind we had was about 17, 18 knots. straight on the nose. And now we're inside the Chesapeake Bay. Yeah, nice and calm, nice and peaceful. It's kind of quite beautiful. It's hazy. Can't see any land. Oh, a little bit over there. We're just coming in between all these big ships. And we've probably got about 3 hours to go. We're going to arrive at Yankee Point Marina. This passage has been really non-eventful. That's what you want in a passage, you know. You don't want drama, you don't want things going wrong. It hasn't been good content. It's not good making a video about it. But yeah, it's been nice and calm, nice and peaceful, nice and tranquil. The highlight was just talking to Gary. He's got some great stories. I'll get him to share a few with you guys. I think it's worth sharing. So we're just pulling into Yankee Point Marina now. Just need to tie up and then job done. So we just pulled into the Chesapeake. We just arrived at the marina, Yankee Point Marina. Pretty straightforward, which is kind of what you want. What I got out of it, what I enjoyed about this was my chats with Gary. For me, he's quite an interesting soul. I started this channel because I want to share what I'm doing and where I'm going, but more so about the people I meet along the way and sharing their stories, you know, no matter what that may be. Relatively new to this lifestyle.
Yes, having that, I learned the sailing points. So when I got this boat, I basically knew how to sail just by feeling the wind.
Yeah.
But I didn't know any of the technical stuff.
Yeah. What made you get into this? What made you buy a boat?
When I was 14 years old, I went to San Diego vacation with my family, and they had these little rental boats called Sailfish. I got out there by myself, knowing nothing, and figured it out in a few minutes. Loved it, and we went there every year, so I would do that. When I was 18, after I graduated, I had a job where I saw some in the lunchroom sailing magazines. And I love sailing, so I'm looking at them, these yachts, and I wanted to get one, and knew I would never be able to afford it. It just looked like it wasn't really possible.
Right.
So I kind of gave up on it at that point. And 3 years ago I looked, and I thought, man, these boats are really affordable.
Yeah.
I was going to build my own because of how much they cost.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is really affordable. I'm going to find something.
And then you were telling me about your collection of various things.
Okay, when I was in high school, I rode skateboard. So I started collecting. I have about 200 of them now, and they're hanging up on the walls.
But not just any old skateboards.
Oh, yeah, vintage. My skateboard was 1972, and everything I collected was 72 or earlier.
And he has about 200 skateboards that are all hanging on his wall in your workshop or something. I think you said.
In my workshop, yeah.
And also you got into cars.
I was a welder, so I built cars from frame up. You know, hot rods, rat rod, gassers. I had done hot rod stuff when I was younger, 20, for a few years, and then started my family. Now that I'm older, I have time to do stuff, so I built hot rod from scratch, a rat rod. The first show I ever took it to, when I finished it, I was approached by a photographer who wanted to put it on the cover of a magazine, and about a month later, it was on the cover of a magazine.
Which magazine?
Rat Rod magazine.
Rat Rod magazine.
I have a 37 Willys coupe that I'm making into a gasser, drag racer, and a 41 Willys Woody. Its total production was 5 cars, and so I have 1 of 5.
And then he also collects.
Yeah, vintage arcade.
So pre what year?
Yeah, as far back as 1890.
That's your oldest one, 1890.
That's my oldest, and up to 1973.
So nothing newer than 1973.
Yeah, everything's electromechanical, so I can work on it myself.
Yeah. What would be your favorite of all your arcade collections?
That's a hard one. I would say the bowling machine. When I was a kid, I'd go to the arcade at the beach in the 60s and play these games. Mm. And now I know them.
Because it's your youth. Yeah.
I had an
that
interest
makes sense.
in it.
Yeah. Any other collectibles?
I have an iron collection.
An iron?
Like ironing board, an
Yeah.
iron for clothes.
Yeah.
Going back to the late 1800s, cast iron irons that you put hot coals in.
And what's your plan for the future? Like, what's your sailing plans?
My sailing plan for the last 3 seasons was to get to Grenada, and I just can't get there without breaking down. But after this repower and little refit and everything I've done so far, I'll make it.
Yeah. For me, it's been a pleasure. It was only short. I was only on the boat 2 nights, but it's been a real pleasure to be here for me and meeting Gary and Becky. Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for coming aboard.
Yeah, my pleasure. So now I'm up in Chesapeake. I got Matt, I was on Expedition Drenched with. He's going to come pick me up. He's from up this way, so he's on his way now. He's going to be here in about 30 minutes. And I'm going to spend a few days with him for a while and check out where he lives. So come along. Awesome. Well done.
Thanks.
And look what I just found sitting on the boat. Latitudes and attitudes. Follow. Is the old T-Dogger.
What's up, man? How are you?
Good.
Good to see you. Handshakes for strangers. Yeah.
This is Gary.
Hey,
this is
Gary.
Matt.
How's it going?
What is
Nice
it?
to meet Matt.
Matt. Okay.
Yep. So Tom delivered your boat here.
Yeah.
He didn't crash it into the dock. I don't see any big scuff marks, so that's good.
First time, eh?
I know, that's the first time you've done that.
So that was it for this delivery. It was such a pleasure getting to know Gary and Becky, and I look forward to working with them again in the future. If you're in need of a captain or crew, like I was for Gary and Becky, then head to my website, www.yachtdeliver.com, and fill out the simple form. You will also see that I host charters anywhere in the world. Again, just fill out the simple form under the charters page. That'll come straight to me, and I can get you some options. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and even leave a comment. It really helps push my videos to a larger audience. And if you're feeling extra generous, it would be a huge honor to have you as a patron. Just click on the link in the description. Now for me, Matt shows me what 4th of July is like in the US Capitol before I continue the adventure to Canada in a surprise location.